Today was the sit-down day, which I agree with. I really don't like this idea that some people have where when you're gonna split up, like you don't dump somebody on text, right? Like you don't do that. You know, you're gonna break up with somebody, like it's all right, like break up with somebody. It's actually okay to have dinner. It's okay to spend a weekend with them and have, good parts about breaking up. Because on some level, there was a reason you were together to begin with. Now, in fairness to David Griffin and Anthony Davis didn't choose New Orleans, although he chose to re-sign originally in New Orleans. And David Griffin was not his general manager. He didn't draft him. So this was an arranged marriage, arranged by the NBA draft. They weren't married out of love. Right? But still, you take over your David Griffin, and, I don't want to hear from the agent. I want to hear from him, and him being Anthony Davis. And so here's the report from Major Wojnarowski. New Orleans star Anthony Davis and Pelicans Executive Vice President David Griffin met this morning in Los Angeles and are expecting to continue a dialogue moving forward. League sources tell ESPN Griffin is making his case for AD on the future with the Pelicans. Davis can be a free agent next summer. This is smart business. It's interesting. If you look at the trend, which could have been started by Paul George and maybe continued by Kawhi Leonard, it may. If you look at the trend, it's, hey, take a shot at a one-year deal, right? You never know. Paul George didn't want to be in Oklahoma City. Kawhi Leonard didn't want to be in Toronto. And yet Kawhi Leonard could stay in Toronto, and Paul George did stay in Oklahoma City. And isn't that the case that David Griffin can make? Hey, man, I get it. Like last year, GM you didn't like, didn't have good enough players. But now we have Zion, it's going to be different. Now you're back. Like, why not? You'd prefer to go to the Knicks? Like, the Knicks aren't going to win the NBA championship next year. The Nets aren't going to win an NBA championship next year. Like, in your first year with a new team, those are lofty, lofty expectations. What if I told you the best option was for you to stay right here, reinvest? And if you could say, well, that never happened before. No player's ever asked for a trade and then come back and had success. His name is Kobe Bryant. Maybe you should look it up. Brian Scalabrine joins us on the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio. Don't know if it happens, but feels like a smart pitch if that's the one that David Griffin makes, right? And when there's no decisions today, I'm guessing David Griffin said, hey, I want you to sleep on it, think about it, get back to me in the next couple of days. Do you take the argument that, hey, Paul George didn't want to go to Oklahoma City and they got him to stay? Maybe Kawhi stays. Why can't Anthony Davis?
Why don't I just ask you, Doug, what would you do? This is like, forget what he should do. I would say if you were in that position, I know it's like, oh, it's great. I would love to keep Anthony Davis. He's an all-time great player and all that stuff. He wore the thing. That's all, folks. This you decide. You will get a pretty penny for a guy like Anthony Davis. So you tell me what you would do, Doug.
What I would do personally is, if I'm Anthony Davis, I would probably see this.
No. If you're David Griffin.
Oh, I mean, I'd try and move him. But sure. I would also test the market, and if the market wasn't what I wanted it to be, I would say, let's explore all avenues, right? Let's call the Lakers, see what they're willing to move. But let's not just call the Knicks, call the Celtics, call anybody who's got a player that you want, and say, listen, let's have an open dialogue, and also talk to Anthony Davis about staying. Because you want to, again, explore all opportunities. Because if everyone knows you're dealing him and your back's against the wall, you're not going to get nearly the right value in return for him.
I disagree. If everyone's out there dealing with him or trying to make a move for him, there's a lot of people out there that are willing to give up assets. Here's the thing: when you're a small market, and like I love New Orleans, it's just like It's fine. It's OKC. The fans are okay. It's not unbelievable. They're not packing the house to see Anthony Davis, but I would get guys on rookie scale contracts because at the end of a rookie scale contract, as you know, you have the right to match. So they're called restricted free agents, not an unrestricted free agent. If Anthony Davis wants to walk, yeah, you can offer him more money and all these other things. But if he wants to walk, there's nothing you can do about it. With a rookie scale contract, you could always match an offer. So you can offer an extension off of their rookie deal. Or you can let him hit the open market, see what he gets out there, and end up matching the deal. So to me, I'm looking at Anthony Davis and how many picks and how many young, players that are somewhat established that are on rookie scale deals I can get. Now, maybe there has to be a veteran in there to make the money work or whatever, but I'm looking for guys that I can extend. I'm looking for guys that do not have the opportunity to opt out of their deal, because if I get the right guys and play them around Zion Williamson, then I can have this young core of a group like Oklahoma City did and just probably not mess it up the way Oklahoma City messed it up when they let James Harden walk for the 12th pick in the draft.
It's a great point. Okay, so let's get to the Celtics. Brian Scalabrine joined us. By the way, part of the Big Three. The Big Three has additional dates in Miami, New Orleans, who you said was an okay city. Mike, they're going to boo you mercilessly.
No. I mean, going ways is different. You didn't say live there. I mean, it's an okay city to go visit. I say live there.
I'm messing with you, dude. I'm messing with you. And Salt Lake and Milwaukee, bunch of okay cities. Brian Scalabrine joining us. So, Scal, is it as simple as, the media gassed up those dudes that played over their heads last year? Kyrie struggled to adjust. The chemistry wasn't there. Like, is it what it appears to be with the Boston Celtics?
I don't know. What is it? Like, it appears to me that they don't get good shots. And last time I checked, NBA superstars, they get any shot they want, any time they want. And when I hear about these guys who are, like, when I watch Kawhi Leonard, I say superstar. When I watch Kevin Durant, I say superstar. Those guys are the ones. Steph Curry, super, mega star, Hall of Famer stars. When I watch these guys, those are guys that I'm like, man, these guys are legit. When I watch the Celtics, I still see young guys that still have a long ways to go. And last year, for whatever reason, maybe they got more opportunity. They attacked the paint. They got to the rim more. They shared the ball more. This year, I saw a lot of pull-up twos, a lot of like, man, should you really be taking that shot right now? Or are you only taking that shot because you haven't got the ball in the last 7 minutes? So I think there's some things that they need to clean up when it comes to, like, what to me is a great player. What is a great player in this league? Those are guys that can get downhill, guys that can draw through and make the right play. They have some guys that can do that, but not enough.
If you were a betting man, would you bet Kyrie Irving plays for the Celtics next year?
You mean I had to put the money on that, yes or no?
Yep.
I was forced to it. Because if I was a betting man, I'd stay away from that bet.
Right.
If I was a betting men don't usually do things that they don't know. They have an inclination. I have zero inclination on what a guy wants to do. Now, I know the Celtics have a lot of good things going. I think the Anthony Davis conversation might help with Kyrie. It does seem like he wants to play with a guy like that. I can't see him going to the Knicks unless Kevin Durant went to the Knicks. So if Kevin Durant is leaving to the Knicks, then I'd be a little bit worried. But he's not. If he was frustrated with the Celtics young guys, I can only imagine how he's going to feel about the Knicks young guys. So I can't see Kyrie going solo to the Knicks or Brooklyn. I see him teaming up. So if you tell me that you think Kevin Durant's going to leave, then I would probably bet that Kyrie is going to leave. I would still want to stay clear of that bet. I just feel like those two guys are going to team up, and I feel like they are sort of like, let's team up and see if we can get an Anthony Davis type of guy.
How good is Kawhi Leonard?
Probably the best player in the NBA. I had this conversation with Danny Ainge, I would say about a month ago. I said, if I had one game to win in the playoffs, I'm picking Kawhi Leonard. And he thought it was nuts. He said, I'd take Harden, Durant, and Giannis. I kind of feel like I'm right on this one. I think if I had one game right now, because I think LeBron was out of the playoffs. So in the playoffs, the guys who are in the playoffs, I feel like Kawhi Leonard is if you had to pick a guy, I think you would pick him. Am I wrong by that? Wouldn't you say I'll take Kawhi, my number one pick?
I would probably take Kevin Durant, but I wouldn't say you're wrong with Kawhi.
Yeah, I don't. You can't disagree. The only issue with Kevin Durant is why are the Warriors so much better without him?
But they're not.
I know they're not a better team. Like, obviously you want him out there, but how can they be this good without him if he's that good? They're hard to guard right now. They're a lot easier to guard when he's out there, even though he's a beast.
I do think they're hard to guard, but like, do you think they would have been down 17, 18, and 17 to the Portland Trailblazers if they had Kevin Durant?
Here's what I think. I think when they got down by that much, I think Steve Kerr would have ran a lot of isolation for Kevin Durant.
I understand, but that was working.
Like
they were yeah. Like I get it. Like I get it's not as pretty, but I mean, it's kind of worked. Right? Wasn't like they lost in the NBA Finals with him. Wasn't like they lost any of these playoff series with him. Like
but the Houston series was appreciably. Well, I can't say appreciably because they could have went either way, I guess. But they seem like so much better. Making Houston fly around and have them to guard them.
No question.
Like Houston had a better chance of guarding them with Kevin Durant.
Well, I do think some of it is an indictment on who replaces Kevin Durant and who replaces Steph Curry, right? If you go to Quinn Cook as opposed to, moving Andre Iguodala over, moving Kevon Looney into the starting lineup, that's different. I mean, I think Looney actually ends up helping them, helps them defensively, and makes you have to put your big guy on the floor, so that creates some mismatches for Steph that didn't previously exist. Yes.
Doug, you've played basketball at a high level.
Yes.
I think Division I is a high level. You tell me right now, you're going to the gym.
Yeah.
You got 5 guys that move the ball and never stop moving, are in incredible shape.
Yeah.
Or you got that one beast who's an isolation scorer that can get buckets. If you had to guard one team or the other.
Hold on. You're acting like they don't ever move. You're acting like they do one or the other, and they don't.
I can probably go to the Spectrum Sports and find out the amount of distance that Curry travels with KD versus when he's not out there. Curry, that is so hard to guard. Now, listen, they still going to miss shots, and is it guardable? Yes, but it's a lot harder to guard the Warriors right now than it is when they have KD. Even though KD is a beast in the isolation, if I was guarding Steph Curry, I would want KD out there. It would give me a couple possessions where I can just stand there and watch KD or watch somebody else.
But see, I actually think they need some of that. Look, I think Draymond ends up getting underrated in it because Draymond, he didn't shoot well until now. And I don't put that on K. He gets plenty of wide open shots with KD. He starts making them, and they become almost impossible to guard because you got to leave somebody, right?
Once again,
right.
Let me just ask you this question.
Okay.
You got the ball. You drive. You kick. Then you flare out, and the ball drives, and it gets back to you. Or you just stand there. You have a better chance of making the shot that you drive and kick, and then eventually it comes back and finds you, or the ones where you've just been running up and down the floor, not touching the ball, and then all of a sudden the ball comes to you. Does one, in your mind, because I know what it feels like for me, I love it when the ball moves around, I get to touch the ball 2 or 3 times before I shoot it.
Of course.
Okay, so maybe for Draymond, just the idea of like he just stands around and gets the ball and then he jacks it up. It's a little bit different than the ball finds him, he gets rid of it, it gets back to him, he gets rid of it, gets back to him, now he drives it, he throws a lob to Kevon Looney. Like, I just think like all these guys are playing better because the ball just like moves freely. Now it's not a knock on KD.
But I don't know. I don't know if they actually played better though. Like we're giving them a complete pass because they did get down, double digits to Portland, who wasn't that good, and came back and made some incredible plays. Like I hear you. I think they're more fun, and they may be a little bit more difficult to guard in terms of how much you're running around. I think that makes it easier to score on them because Steph does have to run around more, and he can't take a breath, which I think is of value. But I don't think they're better, and I think that the easiest example of it is like they won the last 2 championships, and one year they're 16-1 in the playoffs. I got one more for you real quick.
Sure.
Houston Rockets.
So I would just say before you go on with that, they moved the ball a lot more last year than they did this year. So just understand if you're referencing last year or 2 years ago, it is much different this season than it was 2 years ago.
Okay, the Houston Rockets reportedly have said you can have anybody but Harden, with a reasonable deal because they're tired of running into the Warriors. Is that overreacting, or do you think they need to freshen some things up?
Who wants Chris Paul?
Nobody. I mean, somebody will want him. Somebody will want him, but they want to dump a bad contract back with her. Like Washington's like, hey, you can take John Wall. We'll take Chris Paul. You take John Wall. We see your Chris Paul, and we match it with a John Wall. Like, now we want Bradley Beal. Like, that's how the conversation actually goes.
Yeah, no, they're not going to get Brad Beal just for Chris Paul. Yeah, no. I don't. Houston can say all they want. I don't. Yeah. What does that mean? You know what I'm really wondering about is, when is LeBron going to ask for a trade so he can go team up with some team that might be able to beat the Warriors?
Never. He's happy where he is, dude. He likes LA.
He's really happy?
Yeah. I actually think he likes LA. He's like, you guys.
Amazing. How could he be happy? How is that possible?
I mean, I don't think he's ultimate, but he's already won a championship. He thinks they'll fix it. You guys fix it. You guys fix it. That's what he thinks. He's not embarrassed by any of this. He's like, look, I scored, I got assists, I got rebounds. You guys fix it. Do I think he's happy? He wasn't happy in Cleveland. Doesn't appear that he was that happy. Might have been happy in Miami, but that ship has sailed. He's not moving his kids and his family again. Not happening.
All right. You know more than me. I think legacy always takes precedent.
I think it does, but I think at some point, mama ain't happy, kids ain't happy, nobody's happy. So, and I think once you start moving around the country several times over and your kids are getting ready for high school, it becomes really hard. Really hard.
Sure. Then I commend him, because to make those decisions and have to deal with whatever's going on in LA right now, man, more respect to LeBron. I'm glad you told me that. If that's true at all, then I got a lot more respect for him, that he's not chasing. Like, I thought he went to LA for movies and all this other stuff.
I think he did.
Eventually it eats you up.
Yeah.
It eats you up that you're not winning, but if he's making those sacrifices for his family, that's what's up.
We'll see also if he thinks they're bringing somebody to town. We'll see what happens. Brian Scalabrine, Big Scal. You can check him out on the Big Three, which, of course, season opens at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, June 22nd. And, of course, Bankers Life in Indianapolis, June 23rd. And then it'll be at his favorite city, which is OK, in New Orleans on August 25th. Thanks so much for joining us, Scal.
You know I'm right.
Of course you're right.
Don't throw me under the bus.
Of course you're right. Of course you're right. I mean, look, you want to end up potentially in a pool of ice with your kidney missing. New Orleans is a great city. I'm kidding. Sort of.